Hello, my name is Dara Hoffman Fox. I'm a gender therapist in Colorado. I write a blog. It's called Conversations with a Gender Therapist. And I've gotten a lot of questions from people because of me having this blog. And I figured, you know what? A lot of people are asking me very similar questions. So instead of responding just individually to everyone's email, I figured why not create a video series with a lot of these questions so that way this can help as many people as possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the first question that I received. It came in a few months ago, and I did answer this person's question directly, but I thought this was a really good one to start off with because it's one that a lot of people ask me. It says, "Hi Dara, I'm 17 and about to go to a therapist for the first time. I'm kind of nervous about it. Could you tell me what kind of questions they ask and or what a session is like so I at least have some idea about what I'm going into?" Okay, so here's the first thing to keep in mind. Every therapist is different. Some therapists offer a free consultation, some don't. I think it's really important to offer that free consultation. Mine's a half hour long, and that way you can go ahead and go in, be able to ask the therapist the questions that are on your mind, and not feel pressured to have to pay for the session or to have to come back again. And it gives you a chance to see how comfortable you are with the therapist. So hopefully the therapist that you are going to visit does offer this free consultation. If they don't, I think it's worth a try to ask if they possibly would just see you even for 15 minutes or so for free, just so you don't have to feel that kind of pressure. Let's see. So, wondering what types of questions the therapist asks. Well, right from the start, of course, we're kind of curious about what brings you into our office. Honestly, a lot of times, because I do work so much with clients who are transgender, I can usually somebody will tell me that ahead of time through an email or a phone call. They'll say right from the start, "Hey, I found your name on the internet because I'm looking for a gender therapist." And so I already know going into it that that's going to be what they want to talk about. But let's say this isn't something you've already brought up, and the therapist will say, "Well, what brings you in today?" Go ahead and as quickly as you can, get to the point of what you want to talk about, and go ahead and start feeling out the therapist to see if they're comfortable with what you're bringing up. Go ahead and bring in your questions that you want to make sure your therapist is able to answer. Do you want to make sure that they are familiar with writing hormone replacement therapy letters and surgery letters? Do you want to know if they have contacts in the area for physicians, um, name change information, support group information, that kind of thing? The thing is that as you're asking your questions to the therapist, and then maybe the therapist is asking you some questions too, it's almost more so about how do you feel with that therapist? Do you see yourself being able to open up to that person for however many sessions you end up seeing them? That's the main thing to focus on. So even though your words are important, your questions are important, and their questions are important, you have to feel out how comfortable you are with that person. That's the number one thing, in my opinion, that I think makes for a good relationship between a client and a therapist. So let's see. In terms of what is it that you're getting into when you do go visit a therapist, like I said, right from the start, it's important to know if you're going to be comfortable with that person or not. You can take a look and see what their office is like. You can see a little bit of what mine is. Um, but not everybody has the same style that I do. But I find that it makes people pretty comfortable to see that this isn't a typical sort of sterile environment. And when I say typical, I mean sometimes in hospitals, that's a kind of experience. Or sometimes in movies and TV, people can get an impression about, oh, that's what it's going to be like to see the therapist. So if that doesn't matter to you, then it doesn't matter. But if it is, make sure you're going to be very comfortable when you go speak to that person. So, in general, if you are specifically seeking out a therapist to help you with transitioning, make sure you also ask them how familiar they are with the WPATH standards of care, because more than likely, if you're interested in them writing you letters for either hormone therapy or for surgery, you need to make sure that your therapist is very familiar with the very newest standards of care, which came out in 2013. So that shows that you've done your research, and then you'll know if the therapist is going to be the best person to help you out with this. So, anyway, I hope that's been of help to you and hopefully to others out there who would like to have that sort of information. Like I said, come visit me on my blog. It's Conversations with a Gender Therapist. It's easier just to Google it because the URL has a bunch of dashes in it and it's a little bit messy. So, I hope to see you there. And I'll be back again with more questions. If you do have a question you'd like to ask me, please email it to darahoffmanfox@gmail.com. Take care. See ya.